like to call this meeting to order. Roll call.
Councilman Samaluka? Here. Councilwoman D'Arminio?
Here.
Councilman Garrett?
Here.
Councilman Alcomando is unable to be here this evening. Council President Mazur.
Here. Please rise for the salute and flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Yeah, I'll do it after. Adequate notice of this meeting has been sent to all council members and to all legal newspapers in accordance with the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975.
The public is hereby advised that any statements made during the meeting of the Township Council of the Township of Saddlebrook may not be privileged or protected, and that persons or entities who take issue with such comments or are offended by saying may and have in the past sought legal redress through the courts. Any member of the public who addresses the council speaks for themselves and not for the council.
Mayor?
Yes. Thank you, Council President. Tonight, I invited the Fire Chief, Chris Loma, and the Assistant Chief, Joe Palazzati, here because I had written the Chief a letter regarding Sean Sturdy's untimely death and the fact that I was so proud of the department, the brotherhood that they displayed during Sean's, Lieutenant Sean Sturdy's wake and funeral procession was just so uplifting. The outpouring of love and support that they showed to the Sturdy family was just incredible. And it was with a heavy heart that I wrote the letter, but I felt so good really about them as a group, the family that they have. So I wanted to invite them here and have the chief say a few words on behalf of the department. And again, to just show and pay tribute to Sean and to show the family how much we care. So at this time, I want to turn it over to Chief Sloma. Chief, you can, if you want, you can. You want to get up there either way? It's up to you. Okay, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
On behalf of the Saddlebrook Volunteer Fire Department, Joseph Palazzati, the officers, and obviously all my membership here, it saddens us that we lost a beautiful person, somebody who was dedicated to the fire service, somebody who meant a lot to us, and I'm very proud of each and every one of my membership, the people of Saddlebrook that assisted us to give him the best goodbye we could. And Mayor, Council, thank you very much for the services that you provided us to make that possible. And it's going to be a hole in our hearts for a very long time that I don't believe that we'll ever fill. So again, on behalf of the Saddlebrook Volunteer Fire Department, I want to thank the townspeople and everybody that was involved in it, our mutual aid group, the people who were there for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you. It really was a beautiful tribute.
I know the family was very proud, and it brought them a little solace in their life. So.
And you this Sunday you have a softball game,
So
right?
this Sunday we're going to have a benefit softball match. It's going to be the last match of our season, and what we're going to do is we're dedicating the game to Sean's memory. Fairlawn, who the chief is here, Chief Palmieri is here. We're going to have a special event. We're going to be selling T-shirts in Sean's memory. So all the money is going to be going to the family to assist them with the bills that they have going. And I know, Mayor, you have something in the works as well. So thank you.
Thank you.
At this time, we would like to have a moment of silence for Lieutenant Sean Sturdy. Stand. Thank you, everyone. On behalf of the entire council, we offer our condolences and to tell you how very proud we are of each and every one of you. And our prayers are with you and the entire Sturdy family as well. Thank you. Anyone else wishing? Thank you very much. Mrs. Scarfani, you need something to bring up to the council before we open to the public? Yes.
Hi, most of you know me, I'm Janice Scarfani, 33 Rochelle Parkway. I'm a little nervous. Me, right? My primary reason I'm here tonight is because RVFW went through a few things and we lost a very good commander. I can't believe I'm doing that. Wait a minute. Fortunately, Lou Verrilli, our current commander, stepped up and he's doing a great job. Now, one of Lou's goals is to rehab the post. I mean, we're a little old. The building was built in the 50s, and we've done some repairs over the years, but he would really like to see upstairs really done nicely. So we put our heads together, and of course he came to the auxiliary and the riders and asked us our ideas. We got together and we came up with a few fundraisers that we want to do. They're quickly put together, they're going to be informal, but we really need the town itself to support us on this. Lately, we've had some bad things happen in town, and that's where a lot of the money was diverted to. So anyway, the good part about this whole thing is we came up with this idea of like a potluck lunch. So on July 22nd, the auxiliary decided, well, we're going to have a potluck lunch from 2 to 6. Tickets are $10 a piece, okay? Now, a lot of it's going to be potluck because people are bringing stuff in. I have no idea what's coming. I just had my assignment. But on top of that, when the riders had their meeting the next day, they decided to have what they call a mini ride. So the VFW riders are going to be, it's open registration for anyone that rides a bike. 11 a.m. registration. The ride will take off at noon. The riders will be $20, their passenger $15, right, Trish? Now, this does include, though, the food. You don't have to pay twice. We're not going to be that. Of course, if you want to give us the extra 10, it's fine.
They get breakfast.
Yeah. So, we're hoping, we just would love to see you come out and have the town support us. That's all. And we have, a paint party in the offing we're talking about. Yesterday at the barbecue, we were talking about possibility. Now, this is really far out, but the Meadowlands, we thought of this yesterday, bus trip to the Meadowlands for harness racing. It's all in the works. We're thinking about it, so hopefully it'll work out.
Oh, thank you, Janice. Awesome cause. Hopefully everybody, great turnout. Thank you for everything that you do as well. At this time, a motion to open to the public?
Motion.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The meeting is now open to the public. Anyone wishing to be heard, please come up, state your name. Oh, so, okay. Sorry, hold on 1 minute, we got one thing to do first, sorry. Okay, motion to open the meeting to the public for the open space grant application. Motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Mayor, you didn't talk about the open space
Yes.
grant. Sorry.
This grant that we're applying for, it has to do with a young man, a person from town, resident, Michael Maniscalco. He's trying to become an Eagle Scout, and his project is to make Avon Park accessible for special needs children. What he wants to do to the park is make it barrier-free, provide ramps for wheelchair accessibility, install a handicap accessible playground equipment, and create new pavers, a paver path for wheelchair mobility. Michael has already went out and received donations and fundraised for about $15,000. The project in whole will be about $30,000. So this grant, we're trying to get the other $15,000 from open space, which I feel we have a very high likelihood that we'll receive the grant. So the next step is we have to appear before the Bergen County Open Space Grant Committee, and we're going to bring Michael with us, and he's going to explain his project. He probably could have done a much better job than I did. Unfortunately, he's on vacation with his family. But the young man is really doing a fabulous job, and it's a to me and the council, we feel it's a very worthy project, and the town will be better off for it. So that's essentially it. So we're hoping the next step is to appear before that committee at the county, and I don't know when that's going to be. Hopefully it'll be soon. So, thank you.
You're welcome. At this time, does anyone have any questions or comments on that grant application? If not, we will continue with the open part of the meeting, so anyone wishing to be heard, please come up.
Joe Schultz, 345 Heimstrand Court. I want to thank you guys for, when I asked for the signs to be put up on my street, they were up within a couple of days, and it has made a big difference. I appreciate it, and I see you have the marijuana
Yes.
bill ordinance
Ordinance.
On the call tonight. I think that's essential, because all the towns around here are doing it as well. So, thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else wishing to be heard? Okay, Emil.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Emil Sudol, Van Loon Terrace, Saddlebrook. The marijuana issue that you guys are bringing up tonight, ordinance, I don't know anything about it. Is it published anywhere, or is it, I mean, you guys are voting on this tonight, correct? But we don't know anything
First
about it. I
First
mean, what is
reading.
it doing, what is it not doing?
Okay,
Can somebody answer me?
This is,
Are you speaking?
I'm just, I mean, it's, we can go through the attorney, but basically, it prohibits the operation of retail marijuana establishments.
So it can't be sold anywhere in the town?
Can't be sold in the town.
That's it?
And social, you know, like.
Recreational
social-
use?
Recreational use.
Yes, recreational.
Okay.
And it doesn't affect medical.
Why are you guys
use of
doing
medical
this?
marijuana.
What's the reason for this?
Well, because I think it's, I don't want to see marijuana being sold in Saddlebrook for recreational purposes personally, I don't. And I think all the other towns around.
Well, that's not true.
have-
You know, maybe a town or two around us might be doing that, but you're saying all the towns
Well,
around
I'm
us.
saying Lodi did, Hasbrook, you know what, that doesn't matter.
Well, here's the
Or
point that I
South
wanted to bring up
Carolina.
about this whole issue. 10,000 people die from drunken drivers in the state, in the country, every single year. 10,000. That's one person every 55 minutes is killed by a drunk driver. And what are we doing about it? Building a liquor store or a giant warehouse across the street. I mean, is that right? Why are we attacking? Do you know anybody that got killed, anybody from smoking pot? I just don't understand. You know, the other issue that I have, I kind of like looked this up. The state of Colorado legalized it a year or two ago, and last year alone they brought in over $500 million in tax revenue. Now, by voting no on this for sales in Saddlebrook, Colorado is taking that money and they're building new schools, which I think is awesome. I mean, that's taken a hell of a burden off the taxpayers of, of the towns. By us voting no on it for sales in the town, is that any way going to affect us down the road for, let's say, when it is legal, because it will be legal in the state shortly, will that stop us from obtaining any of that money? Did you people look into any of that stuff, or is, if we're not participating in the program, are we going to be knocked out of the program and not receive any kind of money from the state? I mean, it's just a couple of things that I thought were important to look at before you go and jump the gun on this and just say no. Once again, I think that booze, alcohol, is more of a problem than pot. And here we are opening a giant liquor store across the street. There's another one down the block. I mean, it's legal everywhere, and it causes the most damage. So I just wish that you people would think this out a little bit. That's all I got to say. Thank you for your time.
Just for information, I'm gonna talk about, a little bit about the nuts and bolts of this later. But this is just for a first reading.
I understand it,
This is
but
not-
I don't know anything about it.
this
I
is
didn't
not-
see anything anywhere about, what you people are doing.
This is not, this will be first reading, to give it a first reading, and then there'll be public comments at the next meeting.
Okay.
But this-
Okay, so
this
it's
should
not a
focus
done
on-
deal tonight or anything. I do understand that, and I
Absolutely.
appreciate your time, but I just, like I said, I think that you should look into this a little bit deeper than just voting no on it, and it possibly, losing out on future, revenue from it, because getting all that money for schools would be fantastic. That's all I got to say. Thank you very much for your time.
Emil, there is a copy of it on the bulletin board if you'd like to take a
On the
look.
board?
Back there, yep.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else wishing to be heard? Seeing no one, motion to close?
Motion to close.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, ready. Council comments? Mayor, sorry, Mayor.
Thank you. I want to thank Janice Scrafani from the VFW for coming here and requesting our support. The VFW over the years has really done a fantastic job of giving and donating to worthy causes for many, many years now. I know they've donated to the fire department, the police department, the ambulance corps, private individuals that were sick and in need. They've done fundraisers. They've really been awesome to the town, and I think in their time of need, I know personally that I'm going to support them and do whatever I can to go to any of their fundraisers that they have. I'm sure the council will as well. One thing that we can do as a township, as far as helping them, I know one of the big things that Janice had spoken about was they want to renovate their upper hall. And what we're going to do is next year, through the community development block grant, we're going to put in an application if we can. We have to make sure we can qualify for it. There are applications that can be sought out for service organizations. In fact, I know several years ago, we helped them through the community block grant, helped them with their elevator. So if we can do anything to apply for a grant that would help them, again, we'll have to check out and see what it is we can qualify for, but I believe we're going to do everything we can to do so. So hopefully we're going to research that, and we'll find out that we can put in some kind of application to assist them. Regarding the budget, I just want to let the taxpayers know that the tax bills will be delayed. The state just settled their budget, and they haven't adopted it yet, so we don't. The state aid numbers are not in, but we will extend the deadline for payment past or beyond the August 1st deadline for those that are looking to pay or looking for their bill. They will get it, and there will be an extension on the payment. the deadline of August 1st. We have a Safe Routes to Schools grant that we're going to be applying for. That's on the agenda tonight, to go forward with that. Our grant writer, Bruno and Associates, is working with our town engineer, Rick Arango, and the school district to come up with an application, which is due August 23rd. I spoke about the open space grant application earlier, and Michael Maniscalco, the Eagle Scout project that he's doing. Paving projects, we have several. Kenny Place was completed. Leicester Avenue was done curb to curb. That's a public service project that was done last year, public service. The new Scheffler Foods that's in there, as part of their development, they put in a new gas line, a larger gas line. So public service paved this year, just recently, from curb to curb, that the whole length of Leicester Avenue. Bids were taken for Phase 2 of William Street. That was done last month, so that should be done shortly. Phase 1 of Caldwell Avenue, which is a New Jersey DOT grant project, that was awarded on Tuesday. We did that because of a deadline that we were under, so that was passed on Tuesday. We should be going out to bid this month on 4 2008 road resurfacing projects for the town: Erie Street, Hayes Drive, Nedlick Drive, and LaGregne Street. Also, Phase 2 and 3 drainage, that's a community development block grant as well, which must be completed this year to qualify for the funding. So that we're going to be awarding tonight to a contractor, and that has to be done by the end of the year. So hopefully, I'm hoping by the end of the summer. I want to let everybody know that township offices are closed on Fridays for July and August, starting this week. The DPW, recreation, and senior bus will not be affected. They'll still be working Fridays. The summer hours are, for the white collar workers, are Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, 8 to 4:30, and then Tuesday, 8 to 5. I want to thank the school district for inviting myself and the council members to the middle school and high school graduations. I attended both. It was very, very nice graduations, and I want to congratulate all the graduates and their families. Due to the extreme heat that we've been having, I just want to remind, especially the elderly, that there are cooling centers available in town. The senior center, Monday through Friday, 8 to 4, and the police department, 24 hours a day. Please call the police department if you need any assistance. If it's too hot in your where you reside, please call, and they'll supply some help. A couple of events. We had the fishing derby on Saturday, June the 16th. I want to thank the Kiwanis Club for sponsoring it. Also Dunkin' Donuts, they supplied coffee and munchkins for the adults and kids. Walmart donated 3 fishing poles, rod reel combinations. Acme, they supplied drinks for everyone. Joanne Brindell took photos. Matty Bennis, police officer Matty Bennis, he ensured that New Jersey Fish and Game came and stocked the lake prior to the fishing derby. And of course the fire department, ambulance, and DPW for all their assistance. We had fireworks this Tuesday, July 3rd. It was a little touch and go with the weather. It ended up that we made the right call. We had them. They went off a little later than usual, but because of the rain, it had to set up. It took them about 5 hours to set up. It's a major operation, but I'm glad we got it in. I want to thank the VFW Post 3484 for, again, that's another thing they do. They sponsor our fireworks. All our emergency services personnel, police department, fire department, ambulance corps, emergency management. Special thanks to Michael Seitz, our fire prevention official, basically for orchestrating and running the whole event in its entirety. He does a great job, so thank you to everybody, especially Michael. Upcoming events, we have National Night Out. It's Tuesday, August 7th at Washington School from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. We have several law enforcement agencies from the state and county that are going to be there. The county Sheriff's Department has their dogs, their bomb robot. Hopefully the state police will have their helicopter there, either do a flyby, maybe they can even drop down and let the people see the helicopter close range. Also, our fire department and ambulance corps will be doing demonstrations, there's handouts, and it's going to be a fun-filled night. So that's Tuesday, August the 7th at Washington School. Lastly, the Township picnic is Saturday, August the 25th from 12 noon to 4. Rain date is Sunday, August the 26th. It's at the county park. In the morning, the mayor's walk is at 9 a.m. This year, we're going to be promoting our stigma-free initiative. So that's going to be it's going to be a mayor's stigma-free walk. Everybody have a nice summer. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Okay. Councilman.
Thank you. Good evening. First, my condolences go out to the Sturdy family. It's a huge loss for our community. I'd also like to thank Chief Sloma and the fire department for their support and service that they provided to the family and to the township as well. Secondly, I'd like to talk about the 4th of July celebration on Tuesday night. This was another extremely successful event. I'd like to thank the VFW for their financial support. Also the police department, fire department, ambulance corps, DPW for their efforts to make sure the community was safe and that the event went smoothly. Lastly, I'd like to wish everyone a happy summer. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman.
I'm good.
You're good?
For the moment.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Yes, Councilman.
Again, to reiterate what everyone said, the Sturdy family, our condolences go out to the Sturdy family. I don't think on a dare anyone could find anybody to say one negative word about Sean. He was a great kid, and he was loved by parents and children alike, and also his co-workers, obviously, because it was a great turnout from the Port Authority, and also his fellow volunteers from our ambulance corps. And thank you for giving him the send-off that he richly deserved. On the fire department end, we have a new truck that was delivered to Hook and Ladder, so we're happy about that. And the town has shown that it continues to try and provide its first responders first-class equipment and the equipment that helps to save your life, but also helps keep them safe in trying to help you. And we owe them a huge debt of gratitude for volunteering. It's a very, very tough and dangerous occupation that they've chosen to give to us. The mayor had talked about the paving, and I think you're going to be seeing and happy to see a lot of the roads being paved. And again, just like the fire trucks, just like the police cars, we are on this rolling purchasing where we don't end up having emergencies like we've had sometimes in the past, where all of a sudden it's like, oh, we need 5 police cars tomorrow because they've all reached their life. We have this rolling purchasing of police vehicles, of fire trucks, and once we get that going, we hope to always have up-to-date equipment for our first responders and those that keep us safe here. I can't see. Congratulations to all the grads. Unfortunately, I was ill, and I wasn't ill. I was working, and I was unable to attend, and I apologize to all the grads. I usually try and make those, but I was unable to get out of those obligations. The VFW, it would be hard to find any other organization in this town that donates as much time, energy, and money to other organizations and other people in need. So anything that you can do to help the VFW by going to their fundraiser or just generally making a donation to the VFW would be greatly appreciated. I know the town is going to do everything that we can do because we've all been affected by the VFW, all in a positive way. The last thing is, as Mr. Sudol had brought up, is we're going to vote a first reading on the marijuana law. And it's just easy to see that Colorado is getting tax revenue. And that's great. Money is great. You can do a lot of things with money. However, Colorado seems to be a state where everyone is, but a goodly amount of people are just walking around stoned all the time, and that's not the society that I would want. Money is not everything. There is taxes, but the taxes are not local taxes, those are state taxes. And there's a laundry list of things that were supposed to be a bonanza for the taxpayers of the state of New Jersey. Legalized gambling, we weren't gonna have to pay for anything because legalized gambling was gonna fix all the problems. The lottery, it started with the lottery. Well, you see how that worked out. Some of these things, then the gas tax was gonna be this bonanza, it was gonna be dedicated to certain things. That didn't work out. I mean, they actually were taking money from the public pensions to help the budget when these other things were supposed to do it. So if you're relying on the state government to kind of be the godfather and make everything all right, I think that trust is misplaced. The other thing is, Mr. Sewell, you are 100% correct. Drunk driving is a very, very horrible epidemic almost in this state and in other states. The problem with marijuana is marijuana affects your ability to operate a vehicle, just like alcohol does. And one of the issues is that we have something called an alcotest machine, that when you are stopped for drunk driving, you blow into that machine. And if your reading is a certain reading, you will most likely be convicted of drunk driving, and you are required to blow into that machine. Now, if somebody is suspected to be operating while impaired, okay, not intoxicated, but impaired by drugs, which may be marijuana, what they'll do is the protocol is to put them on that same machine, and you'll blow a 0-0 because you didn't drink. And then what happens is you need to have what's called a drug recognition expert, a DRE, come in, and the DRE evaluates you. The issue is that not every town, I know this in Bergen County, not every town has a DRE. So the more, if marijuana is legalized, and there's talk that it will be, and it most likely will be, it's almost an unfunded mandate, because where are we getting the money to pay these guys to go to drug recognition expert school to learn? My understanding, it's almost a year-long process. And it takes a lot of time, and it takes a lot of money to get that expertise. And if you have one in your town, you're probably gonna need two. So that money, nobody in the state is saying, and with that money, we're gonna fund you, so this way you can tell if people are intoxicated. And what happens is, they get the test results, and it comes back, and it shows that there's metabolites, what's called metabolites, in the system. It's THC, the operating, the active ingredient in the marijuana. But the argument that people make, and I see it all the time as a municipal prosecutor, and Chief Sloma is also a sergeant in the Bergen County Sheriff's Department, and we've had cases together, and the defense argument is, yeah, it shows metabolites, but so what? The metabolites stay in your system for 30 days. My client smoked marijuana 20 days ago. He wasn't operating while impaired. So it's not so easy. And my belief is, until they come up with a test to quantify how much, basically how high you are, and come up with a level that is considered impairment, I don't believe in the legalization of marijuana at this point. I just don't, because it just gives carte blanche to someone to say, to drive, and no one can tell me that driving while high in marijuana is safe. You can have an argument all day, which is worse, driving while having 6 shots of vodka or smoking a joint or two. I don't know the answer to that, but I know that each one impairs your ability, and until we can get a test that's usable and certified by the courts, I'm not for it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. I would just like to comment on the ordinance. Even though Councilman Comando was not here at Tuesday at our work session, he wanted it to be known that he is 100% on board with it also. Moving forward, ordinances.
First reading, ordinance 1646-18, an ordinance amending and supplementing the revised general ordinance of the Township of Saddlebrook, Chapter 206, zoning, by adding a new section to prohibit retail wholesale sale of marijuana products for first reading.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Samaluka.
Yes.
Councilwoman D'Arminio.
Yes.
Councilman Garrick.
Yes.
Council President Mazur.
Yes.
Be resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Saddlebrook that an ordinance amending and supplementing the revised general ordinance of the Township of Saddlebrook, Chapter 206, zoning, by adding a new section to prohibit retail, wholesale, sale of marijuana products, heretofore passed on first reading, be further considered for final passage at a meeting to be held on the second day of August 2018 at 7:00 p.m. or soon thereafter, as the matter can be reached at the Municipal Building, 93 Market Street, and that at such time and place all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance according to law, with the notice of its introduction and passage on first reading, and of the time and place when and where said ordinance will be further considered for final passage.
Motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Samaluka.
Just had one more comment on this. This is only affecting the retail sale and distribution centers. It also has a provision in here which is called the sunset clause, which means right now, even if the state legalizes recreational use of marijuana, currently the federal government prohibits it. So I don't know if Mr. Suarez was at the same seminar that I was at the League of Municipalities this past winter, but they were giving advice to lawyers who were giving advice to people who wanted to open up these kind of facilities. And the danger is, to them, you can sell this if it's legal. Yeah, you can sell it. However, the federal government says you can't. And you can't put any of that money in a bank that's federally insured. So there's wads of cash around, which is never a good thing. So if the federal government changes their laws and legalizes recreational marijuana, this law will basically go away because there is a sunset clause. So New Jersey can do what they want, but remember, the federal government right now prohibits it, regardless of what any state says they can or can't do. Thank you. The answer is yes.
Councilwoman D'Arminio.
Yes.
Councilman Garrick.
Yes.
Council President Mazur.
Yes.
All items listed with an asterisk are considered routine and non-controversial by the Township Council and will be approved by one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items unless a council member or members so request it, in which case the item or items will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. The one motion signifies adoption of all resolutions, receive and file letters, correspondence reports, and approval of minutes and applications. Not part of the consent agenda or the minutes of the special public meeting on June 7th, the regular public meeting of June 7th, and resolutions 13 and 14.
Okay. Motion for the minutes.
Motion.
Second.
Roll call.
That's for the consent.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Councilman Samaluka?
Yes.
Councilwoman D'Arminio?
Yes.
Councilman Garrick?
Yes.
Council President Mazur?
Yes.
Do we have the minutes of the June 7th, 2018 special public meeting and the June 7th, 2018 regular public meeting?
Motion.
Motion.
Second.
Second. Roll call.
Councilman Samaluka?
Abstain as I was ill and was unable to attend.
Councilwoman D'Arminio?
Yes.
Councilman Garrick?
Yes.
Council President Mazur?
Yes.
We have resolution number 13, payment of bills,
I was
zone
muted.
plumbing and heating. The record will show that Councilwoman D'Arminio is leaving the dais and reclusing herself from this particular resolution.
A motion.
Motion.
Second. Roll call.
Councilman Samuka?
Yes.
Councilman Garrick?
Yes.
Council President Mazur?
Yes.
Next resolution, payment of bills. Ms. Stone Garden and Council President Mazur will be reclusing herself and leaving the dais while the vote is taken. Need a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Councilman Samuka?
Yes.
Councilman Garrick?
Yes.
Councilwoman Dorminio?
Yes.
It's been approved.
Old business? Yeah.
I said more than enough.
Yes, you did.
Old and new.
Old business? I just want to weigh in on this whole marijuana issue. I just want to say that, as far as I'm concerned, I look at this, really, it's not our decision as far as what's going to happen at the state level. Now, me personally, if I was a legislator, I would vote no on marijuana, on legalizing marijuana for recreational use. I have my own personal reasons, and I'll just give you a real quick reason why. I was a police officer for 30, 40 years. I arrested people that were in possession and consuming marijuana, smoking marijuana. And also, I've seen what the devastating effects of drugs are on individuals, on their families. I've seen how, you know, people's lives are torn apart by drugs. Right now, in this state, really, in the whole country, we have a serious, very extremely serious opioid, heroin epidemic. To me, I can't see how legalizing it is going to help that. It's just going to hurt that. You can say, well, use some of the funds towards prevention, drug prevention. I'm just against it. And you know what? And I've read a lot on it. I agree with some of the things. You have people on both sides, strong opinions on both sides, and both sides make some really, they make some good points. With that being said, my issue is, and I agree with Councilman Simaluka, I agree with his original thought. His original thought on this was to restrict it in certain zones. To me, I think it's going to be legalized. I don't know when. They say it's moving at a snail's pace, but I believe it's going to be legalized. Now, when it is, how is this ordinance going to affect that? Now, from what I understand, the state, when they do pass the law, they're going to have what they call an opt-out clause for municipalities. So they could say, well, we don't want it legal in our municipality. But with that, also, if you opt out, from what I understand, you're not going to, that the town isn't going to receive any revenue that's generated from the sale. And what that probably means is that we'll get less state aid for our schools. So, to me, look, again, if it meant I had a vote on it, I'm voting no. Even if they say, well, it's going to generate millions of dollars, I don't care. I'm voting no. If I was an assembly person or a senator, I would vote no. But if it is legal, I don't feel that our residents should be shortchanged and not receive that revenue. That's my problem with it. So I think I'm okay with going forward. Let's pass this ordinance. But if the law does change in New Jersey and they legalize it, I'd like to maybe consider saying, let's go back and revisit this and say maybe we should do what Councilman Simaluka said originally. Maybe we should, say, well, it's illegal in certain zones, but legal in others. This way we'll get the revenue from it. That's just the way I feel. I don't want our taxpayers to have to, bear the burden of this, of our opinion that it shouldn't be legal. And you know what? I do feel like, there are a lot of towns that are doing it, but you know what? They're going to go somewhere else. They're going to go somewhere else and purchase it, if it's legal. So I just don't want to see our residents not receive what they're due when it comes to state aid. it's important. You know what? No one wants their taxes to go up. And you know what? And there's a lot of people that say, hey, I'm against it, I don't care about the money. You might care when your taxes go up. You know what I mean? A couple $100 a year. You might care because you're not getting that revenue from the state. That's the way I feel about it, so. But I praise the council for doing this. I think it's a good idea. I'm dead set against legalizing marijuana. And Emil, as far as the alcohol goes, I agree with you. I think alcohol is probably worse. It really is. It's probably worse. But it's legal. It's part of our society. It's part of our culture. No one's going to come back and prohibit, alcohol. But adding another substance, another drug, is not the right idea. Thank you.
No. New business?
So I'm not sure.
Okay. A motion to open the meeting to the public?
Motion.
Second?
Aye.
Aye.
Meeting is now open to the public. Anyone wishing to be heard? Yes.
I just want to thank Mr. Sutherland and Mr. White, Mayor and Council for your stand on that. I really firmly believe that if you open the marijuana up, it does affect young kids' brains. They don't learn as well. And just like cigarettes and alcohol, it does roll down to the young kids. And if you start taking it, we're dumbing out the society in this country. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Anyone else wishing to be heard? Haven't seen a motion to close?
Motion to close.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any closing comments? Nobody? Nothing?
I'll make a motion to close.
Motion to close?
Appropriate.
Second?
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Thank you.